Good afternoon, Andy. You're joining us to talk about the workshop that you gave this morning and the lecture that you're going to be given for newer beekeepers tomorrow. And so how did the workshop go? How many people attended?
We had 16 in the workshop. It was booked in advance. They all knew exactly what they were getting. And the workshop was about talking about honey as a food, how to prepare it safely and what can go wrong, and how to prevent things going wrong with the preparation. So honey is as good a quality and as safe as it possibly can be. I need to kind of put in that honey is an unbelievably safe food. It has 3 antibacterial properties. It has an enzyme in it which produces hydrogen peroxide. It's slightly acidic, so it has the same pH as your stomach acid, so it's very antibacterial there. And then also, because it's such a high concentration of sugar, actually draws the moisture out of bacteria. So it's incredibly safe food, but there are still things that can go wrong with it.
And those are the things that you were pointing out and how to mitigate, prevent it happening in the workshop.
That's right.
So the people that came along to the workshop, were they already beekeepers preparing honey? What did you gauge as their level of interest?
So they were all, first of all, extremely interested. As I say, they're booked in advance. People were there early. They were enthusiastic. They engaged. We were talking about all sorts of aspects of preparation, the legal requirements around it. I think they were all seasoned and experienced beekeepers. They've all been extracting, I think, for quite some, or processing for some time. And what's interesting is when you do these workshops, you find out that people are doing different things. I have my way of doing things. Other people do other processes or might dispose their honey in different ways. And all that comes out as part of the workshop. And there can be legal nuances around those. So we explore those and hopefully help them both comply with the law and produce really good quality honey.
And so what's your background? What actually led you into this aspect of honey production?
So I trained as an environmental health officer. You'll see I'm quite long in the tooth and grey in the beard. And I actually trained in 1976 and qualified in 1976. It's quite a bitty job. And in the 70s, I did do some food safety work. And I went on to specialise in housing, and then did other things as well. Never really came back to food safety. What happened was that I went on a conference with a lady called Claire Waring, who was editor of the Beecraft magazine at the time. It was to do with bees abroad. And I was chatting to Claire, and I said, Claire, I'm an environmental health officer. And I've become aware by then, I've been keeping bees for probably 20 years. I've become aware that a lot of beekeeping practice wasn't very good. We were using equipment that wasn't very satisfactory, and beekeepers didn't know their way around food safety. So I said, would you like me to do an article on food safety for Beecraft magazine? Claire jumped at it. It took me a year to write. And in the process, I developed a very real interest in the beekeeping and honey process. It went into Beecraft in, I think, 2009. It got serialized into 5 parts because it was so long. It wasn't without controversy. Some people were really quite concerned that this had even appeared in the press. But it led to things like doing workshops at this National Honey Show. I've done the workshop a number of times. I get called to do Zooms and go to Beekeeping Association's annual shows and do talks for them in the evening and so on. And over the time that has evolved. This year, Roger Patterson said, could I do something for the beginning beekeepers? And I said, well, I'll cut down my food safety. Don't do your usual talk, Roger said. Do something that's a bit different. As well, I could talk more about honey. We're the National Honey Show. Great. And he said, nobody talks about honey. Do something on honey. So I thought, okay, fine. So I thought, well, I'll keep a little bit of food safety in it because that's an important thing. And if you're a beginner, you need to know that you've got to comply with stuff. You don't need to know the detail. I don't want to frighten people off. But then I started to research honey. What do you need to know about honey? Why do you need to know? You know, it's a sticky liquid. Yeah, what else is in it? It's sugar. What kind of sugar? It's glucose, maltose, fructose, and so on. And so I start off with photosynthesis, because that's where it all starts. What the plants do, what the bees do, and what the beekeepers do, and what honey is, and how we process honey, and why various, I mentioned the antibacterial properties a moment ago. Those are important to us. There are other properties that are important, things that you can do to spoil your honey simply by heating it or for keeping it too long, that kind of thing. So we're exploring all of that, and I hope it will be a really good talk. I've done it once, I think, to Leicestershire and Rutland Beekeepers Association. Hello, Leicester and Rutland Beekeepers Association, on Zoom, and it went down well. And I offered it to the Welsh beekeepers, and they said, sounds fantastic. And I'm going to do it for them in December. Hello, Wales. And so hopefully tomorrow, it's not quite its first outing, but it will be very interesting indeed and very helpful indeed for our beginners.
Brilliant. And I think the title of it is Essential Honey.
It's just essential honey, the things that you need to know about honey, but frightened to ask perhaps, or didn't think to ask.
I know, as a newcomer, some things seem so obvious that you just don't like to mention it. And so this is the opportunity, guys, to ask all your questions.
Oh, yes, certainly questions, yes.
What time is your lecture tomorrow?
I'm 11:15. I'm on the first floor in, I think it's the trainer's room. I can't remember.
It's been renamed. It used to be the Solario Suite, and now they call it the Owners and Trainers.
That's right, yes.
Suite maybe. So it's part of the beginners program. It's one that's not going to be recorded. So if you want to come and listen to it, then I'm afraid you need to come along in person. And if you do, there are millions of other benefits for coming along in person as well. So you'll have a fantastic day. And if you do manage to miss it, you'll just have to get in touch with Andy to book him to come and give the presentation in person or by Zoom. I'm sure Andy would be delighted to come along to a Caribbean or a delicious place, and all expenses paid, give the lecture in person.
Oh, absolutely, yes. International travel will be a wonderful. I haven't got that far yet.
But many beekeepers here do.
Oh, yes.
We were hearing this morning of beekeepers helping start things in far interesting and far places. So, yeah, it's a very interesting subject with far-reaching opportunities to make friends, learn more.
Oh, yes.
And as I say, come along. This is where it all starts.
It is. Today I'm walking around, and what a show we've got today. It is absolutely buzzing today. I think busiest I've ever seen. And I've been coming for 30 years, so absolutely amazing. Really, really fantastic. Real buzz, really energy behind it. And it's just delightful. So love to see you here and come along to my lecture. Thank
you, Andy.
Thank you, Val.
Everybody will be here to see you tomorrow. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and carry on tuning in for what else is happening at the show.